One emoji. That's all it took to completely destroy my day. Jake usually sends me 3 kiss emojis, but today, just one. And somehow, my brain decided this meant our relationship was over. Sounds good, babe. Talk later, X. 11:23 a.m. It was now 2:47 p.m., and I'd been staring at this message for 3 hours straight. I scrolled up through our conversation history, analyzing every word like a detective examining evidence. His replies had been getting shorter. Yesterday, he'd sent paragraph-long messages about his day, asking about mine, making plans for the weekend. Today, single sentences, minimal emojis, no questions about my life. He's losing interest, the voice in my head whispered. This is how it always starts. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. I'd already typed and deleted 5 different messages. Hope your day's going well? Sounded too needy. What's up? Too casual. Missing you would definitely scare him off. I settled on nothing and locked my phone, immediately regretting it. Around me, the coffee shop buzzed with normal life. Students typed on laptops, couples shared pastries, friends laughed over steaming mugs. Everyone seemed so effortlessly happy, so secure in their relationships and friendships. I felt like I was watching them through glass, separated by my own spiraling thoughts. My best friend Mia slid into the seat across from me, her designer handbag hitting the table with a soft thud. Sorry, I'm late. The tube was absolutely mental. She glanced at my untouched latte. You look like you've seen a ghost. What's wrong? It's Jake, I said, immediately regretting the admission. I'd promised myself I wouldn't turn every coffee date into a therapy session about my relationship. Mia's expression softened with that familiar concern I'd seen too many times before. What's he done now? And please don't tell me you're overanalyzing his texting patterns again. My silence was answer enough. Oh, honey. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. We've talked about this. Remember what your therapist said about catastrophic thinking? But what if it's not catastrophic thinking? My voice rose slightly, drawing glances from nearby tables. I lowered it to a whisper. What if I'm finally seeing things clearly? What if he's been trying to let me down easy, and I've just been too desperate to notice? I unlocked my phone again, showing Mia our conversation thread. Look at this. Yesterday he was asking about my presentation at work, making jokes, sending me photos of his lunch. Today, nothing. Radio silence except for these one-word responses. Mia studied the screen, her manicured fingers scrolling through our messages. Sarah, he said he'd talk to you later. And look, he sent a kiss emoji. That doesn't sound like someone who's trying to dump you. But it's different. Can't you see it's different? I snatched the phone back, my heart rate accelerating. He usually sends 3 kiss emojis. This is just one. And he said, talk later, not speak tonight. Like he usually does. The language is more distant, more formal. Even as I spoke, I knew I sounded unhinged, but the rational part of my brain had been hijacked by anxiety, and I felt powerless to stop the downward spiral. Mia ordered a cappuccino and settled in, clearly preparing for a long conversation. When did this start? The anxiety about Jake, I mean. Last month you were telling me how perfect everything was. I stirred my cold latte absently, trying to pinpoint the moment my brain had turned against my relationship. I think it was after Emma's party. Remember? When I introduced him to everyone from uni? The party where he spent the entire evening by your side and couldn't stop talking about how proud he was of your promotion. Yes, but... I paused, recognizing how twisted my logic was about to sound. After we left, he was quiet on the drive home, and when I asked if he had fun, he just said, yeah, it was good. Not great or amazing, just good. So because he didn't use superlatives to describe a university reunion party, you've spent 3 weeks convinced he's falling out of love with you. When Mia put it like that, it sounded ridiculous. But my anxiety didn't deal in logic. It dealt in worst-case scenarios, in reading between lines that might not even exist. You don't understand, I said, frustration creeping into my voice. It's not just the party. It's everything. He used to text me good morning every day. Now it's only some days. He used to call me gorgeous, and now it's just, babe. He canceled our dinner last Tuesday because of work. What if that wasn't really work? What if he's seeing someone else? Sarah, stop. Mia's voice was firm but gentle. Listen to yourself. You're creating problems that don't exist. Jake works in finance. You know how crazy his schedule gets. And maybe he's just comfortable enough in your relationship now that he doesn't feel the need to perform grand romantic gestures every single day. But comfort felt like complacency to my anxious brain. If Jake was comfortable, did that mean he was taking me for granted? If the constant butterflies and overwhelming passion were fading, was the relationship doomed? My phone buzzed. Both of us looked at it like it might explode. Jake. Hey, beautiful. Sorry for being MIA today. Crazy day at the office. Fancy a proper catch-up tonight? Could really use one of your famous pasta dishes and a cuddle. Missing you X. I stared at the message, my anxiety momentarily short-circuiting. He'd called me beautiful. He wanted to see me. He was missing me. All the evidence I'd been catastrophizing about suddenly seemed insignificant. See? Mia smiled triumphantly. He's been busy at work. Just like a normal person in a normal relationship. But instead of relief, I felt a new wave of anxiety. What if he only sent this because he could sense I was pulling away? What if he's just trying to keep me hooked while he figures out his exit strategy? Mia stared at me in disbelief. You're joking, right? The man just asked to come over for dinner and a cuddle, and you're still finding reasons to panic? My thumbs flew over the keyboard. Of course. Would love to see you. What time works? X. I hit send before I could overthink it, but immediately started analyzing my own message. Was I too eager? Should I have played harder to get? I know I sound mental, I admitted, finally taking a sip of my now cold latte. I know I'm sabotaging something good. But I can't stop my brain from going to these dark places. What if I'm not enough for him? What if he realizes he can do better? Where do you think this comes from? Mia asked gently. This need to find problems where there aren't any. I considered this. My last relationship had ended badly. Cheating, lies, gaslighting. Before that, my university boyfriend Tom had gradually lost interest, becoming distant and eventually breaking up with me via text. My first serious boyfriend at 17 had simply ghosted me after 6 months. I began slowly. I suppose I'd rather find the problems first than be blindsided again. If I can see the end coming, maybe it won't hurt as much. But you're not protecting yourself, Mia pointed out. You're torturing yourself. You're living through the breakup over and over again, even though it hasn't happened and probably won't happen. My phone buzzed again. Jake. How about 7? I'll grab wine on the way. Can't wait to see you and hear about your day properly. X. This time, I allowed myself to smile. He really does sound like he misses me, doesn't he? He sounds like a man who's been thinking about his girlfriend all day and wants to spend the evening with her, Mia confirmed. Now stop reading conspiracy theories into text messages and go buy ingredients for that pasta. As we gathered our things to leave, I felt the familiar cycle beginning to reset. The immediate crisis had passed, but I knew it was temporary. Tomorrow, or next week, something else would trigger the anxiety. A delayed response, a canceled plan, a different tone in his voice. Mia, I said as we stepped onto the busy London street, Do you think I'm going to ruin this? With all my overthinking and insecurity? Mia linked our arms as we walked toward the tube station. I think you're going to keep working on yourself, keep going to therapy, and keep learning to trust that not every relationship has to end in disaster. Some people, like Jake, actually stick around because they want to, not because they're planning their escape route. I nodded, trying to internalize the words. Maybe tonight I could focus on enjoying Jake's company instead of analyzing every gesture for signs of diminished affection. Maybe I could share my anxieties with him instead of suffering in silence. Maybe, just maybe, I could start believing I was worthy of stable, lasting love. My phone buzzed one more time. Jake. P.S. Been thinking about you all day. You make even the worst Monday bearable X. For the first time in days, my smile reached my eyes. Maybe Mia was right. Maybe not every love story had to end in heartbreak. Maybe this one could just be happy. But even as I thought it, a small voice whispered, "What if he's just saying that? What if—" I took a deep breath and deliberately silenced the voice. Tonight, I would choose trust over fear. Tomorrow's anxieties could wait until tomorrow. After all, Jake was coming over for pasta and cuddles, and sometimes that's all the evidence you need that someone loves you. But deep down, I knew this cycle would repeat itself, because that's what anxiety does. It makes you question everything, even the good things, even the love that's right in front of you.